Well, since I'm at home, not allowed to go to work because of the coronavirus, I thought it's about time I had a crack at this quite complicated kit to build an oscilloscope. I've got to thank Secret Santa for buying me this at Christmas. Never done anything quite as complicated as this, so I'm going to film it, but I might cut bits out as I sort of work on it, but I'll try and explain what I'm doing as best I can. The circuit board here has got a mixture of through-hole components, which we can solder on the back here, and also on-board components. So we've got an IC there, for example, and the resistors here. There's already an IC that's been soldered on for us, which I'm really pleased about because I don't fancy doing that. We've got various connections down here, switches down here, etc. As you can see, I've laid out all the components on my bench to work out exactly what I've got. So I've got some bits and pieces here, resistors, transistors here. We've got a clock, capacitors, connections. We've got, these are onboard components. So there's the IC, there's all the resistors. Now I'm quite pleased that they've actually marked them on the back as well, so that saves a lot of time. But we'll have to test these up here to see what these are, to make sure that they go in the right places. So there we go. Oh, loads of different capacitors here as well, look. So there we go. Quite a chunky sort of kit build this. What you do get though is some great instructions. So this is the instructions for soldering the onboard components. You get them in English and Chinese. Zoom out a bit. There we go. So that's quite good. So we'll have a look at that. We've also got some more user instructions here. Once you've got the onboard components done, this will give you some instructions about the through hole. So that's quite good. This is the LCD. I haven't taken it out of the packaging yet, but that's the LCD that goes on the top. And we've also got some instructions of actually how to use it as well. There's a test that we can use, so I'm looking forward to doing that. So yeah, all in all, quite a good sort of kit this, with loads of instructions, loads of help. It's called a DS0138, and I've had a quick look on eBay. There's quite a lot of these kits available, with all the instructions and everything. You can also get them from Banggood as well. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting build. So I'm going to set this up and I'm going to have a go at doing the onboard components first, because that's the best thing to do. If you've got anything like this with both through hole and onboard, do the onboard components first. What I'm also going to do, I'll do this off camera, but I've got some alcohol here. I'm just going to give the board a quick clean just to make sure there's no grease on there. I'll give that a quick clean up as well before we get started.
same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I suppose we all thought that, one way or another. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
Okay, so far so good. We've got the IC on, bit of messy soldering I know, but it's on, it's okay. Had a couple of bridges, but I sorted those out. This component up here, got that done as well, so that's okay, that's nicely soldered on. So the next thing we need to do is some of these onboard resistors that we've got in various places. Now looking at the actual components that themselves, luckily they're all labelled at the back. They come in strips of 5. So on the 10K I've got 10, I've got 5 3.3, 5 1.5, 5 1K and 5 22. Now looking at the instructions which I've got here, so on here look, we've got 6 of the 10K, and don't forget we've got 10 of those, so it looks like they're giving you a couple of extras on each one. I'm pleased about that because they have a habit of pinging off onto the desk and you can never find them, so I'm glad they've given us a couple of extra ones. So all we have to do really is take a resistor out of the packet and match it to the number that's on the board. So we're going to start with the 10Ks, 6 of those, we'll do those and see how it goes.
thought that, one way or another, Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him, takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
Well, a quick zoom up of the two components, hope you can see them all right. So we've got R17 just there and R20 just there. Now they match up to the 10K that we got from our instruction list, which is here. As you can see, R17, R20. So that's them two done. As you saw, I kind of blew that one to one side, but managed to get it back. So I'm going to do a couple more now off camera, and the ones I'm going to do are just carrying on to following these. So R23, 34, 35 and 41, they're all the 10Ks. Right, so that's got all the onboard components done. We've done some resistors around here, here, here. IC goes there, some more resistors down there. This component here, and some more resistors there. So that's the majority, in fact that's all the onboard components done. So now we've done the onboard components, the next thing to do is the resistors. There's a whole pile of them. These are through hole resistors that we need to do next. Various different values. So what I'm going to do is to get out my resistor tester and test all the resistors to see if we can sort out which is which. And what we'll do is, like I've done before, is we'll get our bit of paper, and as I test the resistors I can mark them on the piece of paper so we know which is which. So the next thing, as I said, is to match the resistor list to the actual resistors that I've got. So what I've done is I've used my tester, which is there, and I've laid out all the resistors on a piece of paper. Now you'll see that the number just above the resistor, that's the actual tester's value. So for example here, they tested it to 119, but on the component list it lists it as 120. So that's why I've matched up each one, as you can see on there, and just by laying them out it just helps you match up and work out which is which. Right, so as I said, the next thing to do then is the resistors, which go in here. There's a whole bank of them down there and a few up here as well. So the resistors are going to be done next. You've seen the piece of paper that I've got with all the resistors on it. And if we double check on here, it tells us what the values are and where the resistors actually go. So I'm going to do that now and come back to you in a minute. Right, you join me on the last two resistors that I'm doing, so I thought I'd just video these so you can have a look, and then we'll have a look at the whole board and how we've got on. So these are the last two resistors going on. which happens to be R37 and R39. There we go, that's got them done. Okay, so that's got all the resistors done now on the board. That's the through-hole resistors as well as the on-board resistors. That's the front of the board. If I flip it over, that's the reverse side of the board. So I think the next thing we'll do are the 3 chokes. 2 chokes, my apologies, one there and one there. So these are just like a filter is what they are. So let's get them 2 done next. My apologies, I just noticed it's actually 3, so it's one there, and one there. That's those 3. The actual chokes do look like resistors, but they're a bit thicker, a bit bigger. But it's these things here. Let's see if I can get that in focus for you. No, it's not going to focus for me, is it? There we go. So it's those things there. So let's put them on the board. So that's 2, and the last one. There we go, let's get them soldered up then. Here we go, that's got the 3 chokes done. Okay. Right, the next job then is to put the capacitors on it. Now these are the ceramic capacitors, and just like the resistors, what I've done is I've marked them out on a piece of paper. Now these capacitors are actually marked on the capacitors themselves. They're not marked plus or minus, so you can put them any way around. And again, on the printout you have a list of the capacitors and the values there. So we just match them up, or I've just matched them up to what the capacitors say on there. So next job then is to get them soldered onto the board there. Okay, so you join me on the last 2 capacitors. So they've got one here which is C20, and then one here which is C23. So these are the last two ceramic capacitors that I'm soldering on. Just the same as the other components, we just push them through, bend the legs slightly, and then we can solder them in place. That is, if it's going to solder in place, that is. There's a bit of dirt on the circuit board or something. Just clean the soldering iron nib and just try that again. There. Got there eventually. Right, okay, so that's all the ceramic capacitors done. What we'll need to do now, we've got a couple of diodes to put in place, so let's find out where they go and we'll solder them in place. Right, so these two are actually slightly different. If we look at the circuit board, we've got one that goes here, which is marked 4004, and one that's marked here, marked 5819. So if we look, it's very difficult to get it on camera, so I apologise, but around the edge of here I can just see 4004 printed on the actual side of the component itself, and we've got a line as well, so that matches up with this one up here, and the line goes to the bottom of the circuit board. So we can pop that one in place. So as we've only got two, the other one goes over here, and again I can just make out on the side a 5819, so that's definitely that one just there, and again it's got the line on it, and the line matches up with the one on the circuit board as well, so that goes across there. So got those in place, just give that a little pull just to there we go. Okay, so we can get them two soldered up as well. There we go, it's got them done. Okay, so we're getting there slowly. Right, two other components that we can do. We've got the LED that goes on the board. LED's got a long leg and a short leg. The long leg is positive. So that goes on the circuit board towards the bottom. Yeah, there it is, look, just there. So that's where the LED pops on, so we can pop that on there. Sorry, we're just bending the legs. There we go, just bend the legs up there. And while we're at it, we can put on the clock as well, which is this timing chip here. Crystal actually. Pop that in place, that can go on there. There we are. We can get them two soldered up in place as well. Okay, let's got them two done. So we're doing really well here. So the next ones then I think we've got is the other capacitors. So let's have a look at them next. So I've had a quick check, whoops, I've had a quick check on the capacitors and they're all the same. They are marked as 16 volt 100 UF. So that's okay. So that means that we can put them straight on the board. The capacitors themselves, they've got a long leg and a short leg. The short leg is marked with a minus on there, and that goes to here, to the round. You've got a round and a square, and the square is actually marked with a plus. So the long leg is a plus. So you need to make sure that you get these the right way round. So they go in like that. Just bend the legs to hold it in place. So here we go. Long leg is positive. And that one there. Just tighten this up. That's better. Right, so long leg is positive, get that one in as well. Okay, so that's got those in, so let's get them soldered up. There's a big blob of solder on there. Great, we've got a nice little bridge there. I've got that sorted out in a second. Definitely seems to be some grease or something on the board. Right, okay. So we need to get rid of that solder bridge. So make life easy for ourselves and get rid of all these other legs. Okay, got my desoldering gun. Let's get rid of that. And we'll try that again. It's better. Right, okay, so that's got all the capacitors done. Next thing we'll do is a couple of variable, I think there must be sort of adjusters or something, which are here. They are kind of shaped. There's a round this side and a flat this side. Looking at the circuit board, it kind of matches the pattern that's on there as well. So let's see if we can get that on. These must be for some sort of adjustment or something. There's one. There's two, so I'll just hold that with my finger and just gently bend the pins to the side just to hold it in place. Yep, that's got it. No, it hasn't. That's just dropped out. Okay, we can get one done at least. Right. Just warm the solder up and do that again, just so I've got my finger to the side just so I can hold it flat against the circuit board. Okay, it's that one done. So let's try that again. It will be the furthest one. Make it as awkward as possible. There we go. Oh, it's fallen out again. Yep, that's got it. That's just going to hold it in place. Okay, that's got them two done. Excellent. So next thing we need to do is the inductor, which is this thing here. Now, both the legs are the same size. On the circuit board, it's got a square and a round. So the square normally indicates that it's positive, but there's no marking on the circuit board itself. So I'm going to assume that it's not plus or minus, so we can put that on there. That could be soldered up. No, that's not quite right. That's just not sticking to the board at all. So let's put a bit of flux on there. See if that helps. Yep, that's helped. That's it's got that, but that other leg is a bit chunky with solder, so let's see if we can clean that up a bit as well. That's better. Look at all that solder just got off it. That's better. Good, that's got that cleaned up nicely. Okay, so that's got that one done. So the next thing we're going to do is they look like transistors, but there's two transistors and two regulators. So we've got these two here, which one's marked up PNP and this one's marked up NPN. We've also got this one here, which is 78L05 and 79L05. I'll put a picture up of the transistors. So there's two transistors, two regulators, and you've got to get them right. So there's some pictures being shown now of the different ones. So let's have a look. So Q1 and Q2, that's this one and this one, they are transistors, but the others, which is this one and this one, are regulators to do with the power. So you have to make sure you get them right. Right, so that's got the four what look like transistors, two transistors and two regulators soldered on. I've given you the pictures of the identifying marks. So just to recap, on Q1, which is this one here, that's a 8550. On Q2, which is the one down here, that's a 9014. If we come across here to U4, this is one of the regulators. This is a 79L05, and the last one across here is a 78L05. So that's those four components. Now that is actually the main components all done. What we've got to do now is some of the sockets and switches and USB cable, USB thing that goes all the way around the edges. So we'll probably do that in the next part. I hope you enjoyed it so far. Thanks very much and join me again soon.